Hey guys, I just finished installing an Inferno cab heater. I'm going to do a quick video on it, just kind of explain how it went, maybe give you some hints on shortcuts and what to expect for issues, because it is tight. So it comes in one box, everything came really good, packed, nice and solid. They did forget to send the T-valve, which I'm sure if you research this, you know that's the part that goes back. I'll start with that. I had to call in. Guy by the name of Ryan said they were out, so they sent another little just T without a valve in there. But he located one and sent it right out. So appreciate that. Did hold my install up about a week, but it was worth it. I wanted to install it with that part. So I have a 2018 Razor 4 900, so I'll start at the back, starting with the T-valve. So the 900 is extremely tight from the rear firewall to the engine. So the only place I was able to install the T-valve was right there, okay, on the oil cooler line. Most of them, it's a little further back into the compartment, but it was a lot easier for me to access it right here, which wasn't easy. That is extremely, extremely tight in there. So tight that actually the T-valve, if you notice, you know how it has two sides of the handle. I actually had to cut off and grind down the other side of that handle because when I turned it into the on position for the heater, the other side of that handle was actually hitting that radiator hose right there. So for me to clear it, I actually had to just cut it off, which is fine. You're gonna have to, make it fit your ride, do some modifications. Also, if you'll notice, on that valve right there, you might notice a little mark. What I did was I actually marked it. I don't want it 100% closed. So I don't want to send 100% of that coolant up to the heater, just because the rest of that oil cooler line, I want to have a little trickling through. So I just kind of played with it before I installed it and blew through it to test some airflow, and found that if I mark it right about there, that sends probably about 90% of the coolant up to the heater, and then still lets 10 trickle through. So if you shut it all the way, it sends 100% up. And again, I just wanted a little bit coming through that oil cooler line back down into the water pump. So just for better circulation. So on the other side of the T-valve there, if you can see, the hose comes up and connects to it. Okay, that's the hose there that goes up to the heater. And I'm going to show you the bottom of that as we go through. Okay, so I'll start at the back here and show you how it comes down. So it comes down off the T-valve there, okay? And then you gotta run it up, down by the drive shaft, the other heater lines and everything, up and over. So it's tight, so real tight, in a couple spots in particular. I'll show you right up there. But if you'll notice also, what I did, anywhere I was gonna strap this heater hose, they send you 5/8 heater hose with the kit. So anywhere I was gonna strap it, I actually wrapped it in 7/8 heater hose. So I just cut a section, cut a slit in it, and then wrapped it so that when I was tying this heater line, the heater hose, to whatever I was tying it to, in this case it's one of the original heater lines, it's wrapped in the 7/8, so there's no vibration against the actual hose, and no way that I'm going to have any type, well, hopefully no way I'm going to have any type of leak. So I just wanted to protect the actual coolant line, because as you'll notice, Polaris uses steel in most of it, or aluminum, and then they tie off into, an actual heater hose at certain parts. So I didn't want to just run that 5/8 down there without protecting it. So it worked out really well. It's, sake of $15 or whatever to get, I used about 4 feet of this along the way, and I'll show you. So again, just kind of protecting this heater hose like against these clamps, the original clamps. I didn't want that rubbing on there. Most of us ride pretty rough. So anyways, the first place you're going to encounter a tight run is right over the first, where the drive shaft splits off here. So that's really tight, and there's a couple screws and stuff up there too. You want to make sure to stay away from those the best you can. So take your time. It took some time. So I just ran it up. Hopefully you can see it. I'll show you from this side. So as you come through, I ran it up and over, and then back down the other side. When I came out, again, as you'll see, I have most of it wrapped in the 7/8 heater hose. and then it just runs right up to the front. So this is where it goes up, right in here. And as you see, the 5/8 line, again, wrapped in the 7/8, and then it goes up to the actual heater. And I'm going to show you that next. So when the in line comes up there, okay, you'll see it actually goes up into the heater. I'll show you from the top in a second. Right there is the outline of the heater, and I believe they call it a Y valve. So you cut into the lower radiator hose and tap into that. I wasn't too impressed with the clamps they sent. They sent teeny little clamps about 1/4 inch wide. So anywhere that the fittings allowed us to, I used some stock, wider, more heavy-duty clamps that I had in stock. So you'll see talk about the inline first. The inline comes up here, right here. Okay, and if you notice, I actually put it into a shutoff valve because the T valve, when you have it off to not send any coolant to the unit, it still trickles coolant up to the unit. It doesn't shut it off 100%. So I didn't want any coolant coming up into this heater during the summer. Number one, I don't want the cab any hotter than I want it to be. And number two, I want all the coolant going through the actual radiator, not in a heater core that's sitting under the dash and not getting fanned. So I want the unit to run cooler. So in the summer, I'll just shut this valve off, and then now I know nothing's going to the heater. So on this here, I just grabbed a ball valve. It's a 3/4 PEX ball valve. That's the one you want to get that has the proper fittings. So PEX, like they run in a house, that's what they're using here. So I just grabbed it. This had a super long handle, as sure they all come with. So I just cut it down, ground it, and then put the cover back on, so it wouldn't be sticking out so far, into any other area. So when I'm running the heater in the winter, I'll have it in the open position and then shut it off in the summer. So the lines come up, they go through the firewall here. The in is on the top and the out is on the bottom. And as we talked about, the out comes down there, as you can see, goes into that Y valve down there, okay? So they go through the firewall and into the unit. Again, the in on the top and the out on the bottom. So again, the stock clamps they sent were kind of small. So I did use them on the PEX fittings, but I used better ones on, the heater core and the Y valve and stuff like that. So as you'll see, the unit fits right under here. You've got 4 vents. I'll talk about those in a second, but it's a nice design. I mean, when I had the dash on before I made the video, it covers it up. You don't see anything. So you've got 4 outlets on the heater core. You can actually splice into 2 of those if you want. You can get their Y kit or whatever if you want to put dash and defrost. I didn't use any defrost, so I know it calls for it to put them in the dash to start. Up top for defrosters. We're not going to enclose this. We actually like riding in the cold, so we just want a little extra warmth to kind of help on like when it's bitter cold, like at night. But we don't expect to have a fully enclosed, heat-proof unit. So if you were doing that, you might need defrost for your windshield. I'd rather have the heat blowing at us in the face, and I'll show you the inside in just a sec here. So just keep in mind too, the wires for all the gauges, you're gonna have to run those through all these vents. This is tight in here, really tight. So to get those down to the floor, and then in particular over to the dash, if you are going to run them in the dash, so that there, I'm not sure if you can see, but that's the backside of one of the dash vents, and it is very tight. You have the frame going across there, and I was nervous when I was taking the 2.5-inch hole saw and drilling it right in the dash that I wasn't going to be able to complete that run. I was hoping that it would still flow, and it actually does. It flows really good, so don't be afraid to put it there if you want to. And I'll show you the inside. So on the inside, what you've got here is your power switch, and it's off, low, and then high. So I haven't called in yet. I'm going to call Monday. But the only problem I'm having is the switch does not illuminate at all to indicate power or anything. It's just off. So I don't know if it's a bad switch or what the deal is, but I'm assuming, you know, they'll send me another switch or something. So as far as the vents go, so like I said, I put mine in the dash because I wanted it to blow at us rather than up against the windshield since we're open. Which I have a half windshield in the summer. I did get a full. I'm going to put on in the winter because that's where a lot of the, you know, cold comes over and blasts you in the face. So I'm hoping that helps out. The vents themselves, you know, you can open them, you can adjust them. These are extremely, where I located them, just be prepared to be extremely patient. As you can see, you know, there's a little bit of a gap here because I actually, after I drilled it with the hole saw, I had to actually go in and get the Dremel and make a little more room because of all the angles and everything in this vent. It's smaller on the back side than it is on the front side. So to hook the other section up, the female version, the female part to this, it's tight. So just be prepared to really take your time with that. I've got some black caulk. I'm going to fill that in, and you know, it should be fine. But when I ran this, I'll actually turn it on for you. But I don't know if you can hear it. And then again, the switch is not illuminating at all, so I'm not sure what's up with that. But as far as the airflow goes, I mean, you can hear the flow. And you can turn that towards your face or whatever you want. Open, close it, whatever. So you've got two that typically go up top, or you can put them in the dash like I did. The other two go down bottom, okay? That's one thing that, you know, it's only a $400 kit, so I'm not complaining, but the plate that they send you for these two lower vents, okay, it's just really, really thin. So you mount them with these two push pins up top, and then the whole bottom flops around on you. So what I did is I installed an extra little push pin here, and on the back side I put a little electrical loop, and then put a strip, a zip tie on that, and tied the bottom of this up to a part on the back side of the dash, so it would be a little more stable. So without that, this whole thing was really flopping around on the bottom here. So you want to secure the bottom, or it's going to be bouncing all over the place, you know, as you're going down over rocks and stuff. But these vents blow really good too, and you can keep, you know, going on your feet and from there. So relatively easy install. I spent way more time on it than, you know, you probably need to. I could probably do this now that I know how to do it, an easy 4 hours, you know, so... But, you know, to figure it out, and then also run to the parts store to grab heater hose and stuff like that. So, anyways, hope it answers your questions. If you have any others, let me know. Hope it helps. Bye.